those shards right now, you useless piece of trash! Hey, I am talking to you! Look at me when I am humiliating you!
Stop it! Just stop it right now! He is a human being!
Pick up those shards right now, you useless piece of trash. The screech of Chef Sterling echoed like a gunshot through the steaming, chaotic kitchen of the Ether Club. A heavy ceramic plate shattered against the tiled floor, sending sharp white fragments flying right past Ji-sung's worn leatherwork boots. Ji-sung didn't flinch. He kept his eyes lowered, his hands raw and red from hours of soaking in greasy dishwater. Welcome to Afrokorean Diaries by Elle, where you get exciting, hilarious stories. Sit back and enjoy the rest of the story. He quietly knelt down on the wet floor, his fingers reaching for the sharp porcelain. Hey, I'm talking to you. Look at me when I am humiliating you. Sterling roared, stepping forward and intentionally kicking a piece of broken plate right at Ji-sung's hand. A sharp edge grazed Ji-sung's knuckle, and a thin line of crimson blood immediately bubbled to the surface. He didn't make a sound. He just squeezed his fist tight, holding back the storm of authority he actually possessed. He had to endure this. It was his father's ultimate test. Stop it. Just stop it right now. Lisa Browns shoved her way through the swinging double doors, her eyes blazing with absolute fury. She dropped her heavy professional styling kit onto the prep table with a loud, metallic thud. Her heart was hammering against her ribs, her chest heaving with righteous anger. She had been setting up her food styling station in the next room, but she couldn't stand silent for one more second of this cruelty. Who do you think you are, Sterling? Lisa yelled, marching directly into the chef's personal space, her tall frame commanding the room. He is a human being. You do not kick things at people. You do not treat anyone like garbage under your shoe. Sterling scoffed, waving a hand dismissively at her. Mind your own business, Browns. You're just a freelance stylist. You're paid to make my plates look pretty, not to play therapist to the kitchen help. He's a nobody. He's a brainless dishwasher who can't even stack plates right. I don't care if he's the president or the dishwasher. You will treat him with respect. Lisa shouted back, her voice shaking with raw emotion. I have watched you abuse this staff for 3 weeks, and I am absolutely sick of it. If you touch him or throw one more thing near him, I will walk out of this kitchen right now, take my styling portfolio with me, and tell the event coordinators exactly why their $1 million gallery opening has no food presentation tonight. The entire kitchen went dead silent. The hum of the industrial refrigerators seemed to grow louder. Sterling's face turned an ugly, mottled purple. He opened his mouth to scream at her, but the threat of losing the Marini Gala contract kept him choked. He pointed a trembling, angry finger at Ji-sung. Get out of my sight. Go clean the alleyway. Now. Ji-sung slowly stood up. He looked at Lisa, really looked at her. Her gorgeous, fierce eyes were still locked on the chef, her jaw set in defiance. No one had ever defended him like this before. To the world, he was always either the untouchable heir to Marini Holdings or, in this current disguise, a worthless nobody. But to this woman, he was just a person who deserved dignity. A strange, warm sensation bloomed in his chest. Are you okay? Lisa asked, her voice instantly softening as she turned to him, ignoring the chef completely. She grabbed a clean kitchen towel and gently reached for his hand. Oh my God, you're bleeding. Come with me. She practically dragged him out the back door and into the cool Chicago evening air. The alleyway was quiet, a stark contrast to the roaring hell of the kitchen. Ji-sung sat down on a clean milk crate, while Lisa immediately tore open a first aid kit she kept in her styling bag. I'm fine, Ji-sung said softly, his voice low and raspy. He spoke English with a smooth, subtle accent, but he kept his tone hesitant, playing the part of a struggling immigrant worker. You shouldn't have done that. He will make your job very difficult now. Let him try. Lisa snapped, gently dabbing antiseptic on his cut. Ji-sung winced slightly, and she immediately blew on the wound to cool the sting. I cannot stand bullies. My mother raised me to always stand up for people, no matter what. I don't care if it costs me a gig. Some things are just more important than money. Ji-sung stared at her face, captivated by the sheer sincerity radiating from her. You are very brave, Lisa. I'm just human, she said, looking up and catching his gaze. For a second, the world seemed to stop. She noticed how incredibly deep his dark eyes were, carrying a weight that didn't match a simple dishwasher's life. She cleared her throat, suddenly feeling flustered, and quickly wrapped a bandage around his knuckle. There, good as new. And look what else I got. She reached into her bag and pulled out a tightly sealed glass container, opening it to reveal an incredible aroma that instantly filled the alleyway. It was perfectly glazed, tender beef short ribs sitting atop a bed of creamy, rich polenta. What is this? Ji-sung asked, his eyes widening. The presentation was absolutely stunning, even in a plastic container. It's my own creation, Lisa said proudly, handing him a fork with a bright, beautiful smile. I call it soul fusion. It's traditional Korean galbi-jjim, but I slow-cooked it with my grandmother's secret southern spices and served it over stone-ground grits. I was testing it for my dream restaurant. Go on, try it. You look like you haven't eaten a real meal in days. Ji-sung took a bite. The flavors exploded on his tongue. The meat was so incredibly tender it practically melted, and the sweet, savory, smoky depth of the spices perfectly complemented the rich, creamy texture of the grits. It was absolute perfection. It was better than any five-star meal he had ever eaten at his family's luxury hotels. Tears actually pricked the corners of his eyes, fueled by the sheer warmth of her gesture. This is... Ji-sung swallowed hard, his voice trembling with genuine emotion. This is the most incredible thing I have ever tasted in my entire life. Lisa, you are an artist. Don't make me cry. Lisa laughed, her cheeks flushing warm. I just want to make food that feels like a hug, you know? One day, I'm going to own my own bistro. I even found the perfect building downtown. An old brick place with huge windows. But, well, dreams cost money. And right now, I'm just trying to survive my family's expectations. Her smile faded slightly, a shadow of exhaustion crossing her face. Ji-sung watched her closely, memorizing the look of hope and determination in her eyes. You will get that bistro, he said, his voice ringing with absolute certainty. I promise you, Lisa, your talent is too big for this dark kitchen. Before Lisa could reply, the heavy metal back door of the kitchen flew open. Lisa, there you are, a sharp, high-pitched voice called out. Lisa's posture instantly stiffened. She slowly turned around to see her Aunt Beatrice standing in the doorway, dressed in an expensive designer coat that looked entirely out of place in a dirty alleyway. Beatrice's eyes swept over the scene, landing on Ji-sung's worn clothes and the bandage on his hand with immediate, visible disgust. Aunt Beatrice? Lisa stood up, dropping her hands to her sides. What are you doing here? I'm in the middle of a job. I came to bring you to your senses, Beatrice declared, marching into the alley, her heels clicking loudly on the concrete. She didn't even glance at Ji-sung, treating him like a literal shadow. Damien Vance is waiting for us at the Grand Lounge down the street. He bought you a stunning diamond bracelet. Lisa, he wants to discuss your future, and you are here, sitting in a dirty alley with the help. Aunt Beatrice, stop it. Lisa's voice rose, thick with embarrassment and absolute fury. Damien Vance is your friend, not mine. I have told you 100 times, I am not interested in him, and I am certainly not interested in his money. Beatrice scoffed, waving a manicured hand dismissively in the air. You are being an absolute fool, Lisa. Look at you. You are sweating in a hot kitchen, styling food for people who actually have money, while you have absolutely nothing to your name. Damien can buy you your own restaurant tomorrow. He can give you a life of luxury, and you're throwing it all away to sit in a dirty alleyway on a plastic milk crate with this boy who washes dishes. Ji-sung stood up slowly, his heart hammering against his ribs. He felt a sudden, deep urge to put Beatrice in her place, to speak with the towering authority he actually possessed. But he forced himself to hold back, his fists clenching at his sides. He couldn't blow his cover yet. Not until his father's test was complete. But hearing this woman degrade Lisa for her kindness made his blood boil. "Please, ma'am," Ji-sung said, keeping his voice quiet but steady. "Do not speak to her like that. She is incredibly talented. She deserves respect. Did I ask for your opinion?" Beatrice snapped, turning on him with absolute venom. "Shut your mouth. You are a nobody. You wash the plates my niece styles. Do not dare speak to me or look at my niece again." "Aunt Beatrice, that is enough," Lisa screamed, stepping directly between them, her eyes bright with tears of sheer humiliation. "Get out of here. Get out of my workspace right now. I am not going to the lounge, and I am absolutely not meeting Damien. I'm staying here, and I'm finishing my job." Beatrice gasped, her chest heaving under her designer coat. "Fine, continue to be stubborn. Continue to starve for your art. But don't you dare come crying to me when your bills are due and your little dream bistro is bought out by someone who actually has a bank account." With a dramatic huff, she spun on her heel and marched out of the alleyway, her high heels clicking aggressively against the damp asphalt. Lisa leaned against the cold brick wall, burying her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook as she let out a long, ragged breath. "I'm so sorry, Ji-sung. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. She doesn't know anything about real worth." Ji-sung stepped closer, wanting desperately to wrap his arms around her and protect her from the world's cruelty. Instead, he gently placed his hand on her shaking shoulder. "You do not need to apologize, Lisa. Your aunt is wrong about you, and she is wrong about what makes a person valuable." Lisa looked up, wiping a stray tear from her cheek. "I just want to build something of my own, you know? That building downtown, the old brick bakery on 5th Street. It has been vacant for years. I can see it so clearly. Brown's Fusion Bistro. But Damien wants to buy the block and tear it down for luxury condos. And my aunt thinks I should just marry him and let him do it. He will not tear it down," Ji-sung said, his voice ringing with a sudden, absolute authority that made Lisa blink in surprise. "I promise you he won't." Lisa laughed weakly, shaking her head. "I appreciate the optimism, Ji-sung, but Damien has millions of dollars. We are just two people standing in a dirty alley behind a restaurant. Sometimes the people in the alley have more power than you think," Ji-sung murmured, offering her a soft, comforting smile. The next afternoon, Lisa stood in front of the dusty, locked glass doors of the old brick building on 5th Street. The autumn wind swept dry leaves across the pavement, matching the cold loneliness in her chest. She pressed her hands against the glass, peering inside at the beautiful, rustic wooden beams. It was perfect. It was everything she had ever dreamed of. "I knew I would find you here." Lisa jumped, spinning around to see Damien Vance stepping out of a sleek, black sports car. He was wearing a tailored gray suit, an arrogant, smug grin plastered across his face. "Damien," Lisa said, her tone instantly flattening. "What are you doing here? Are you tracking me now?" "Your aunt told me you'd be here," Damien said, walking up to her with an easy, predatory stride. "She's worried about you, Lisa. And honestly, so am I. You are wasting your talent. Look at this dump. It's practically falling apart." "It's not a dump, Damien. It has history. It has character," Lisa argued, crossing her arms defensively. "Character doesn't pay the rent, baby." Damien laughed, reaching out to grab her arm. Lisa immediately stepped back, dodging his grip. Damien's smile tightened, a dark flash of annoyance crossing his eyes. "Look, I'm trying to be nice here. I bought the development contract for this entire block. I'm signing the final purchase papers tomorrow morning. I can make you the head chef of the brand new restaurant in my condo building. Or you can keep playing these pride games, reject my proposal, and watch this place get demolished by a wrecking ball. It's your choice, Lisa." "You are unbelievable," Lisa shouted, her eyes wide with shock and disgust. "You bought the contract just to force my hand. That is not love, Damien. That is blackmail. It's business, Lisa." Damien snapped back, his voice dropping to a harsh, menacing whisper. "In this city, money talks. People like you don't get to make demands. You either ride with the winners, or you get left behind in the dirt. Then leave me in the dirt," Lisa yelled, tears of anger stinging her eyes. Because I would rather starve than sell my soul to a bully like you. While Lisa was confronting Damien, Ji-sung was standing in a secluded corner of a high-end business lounge downtown, holding a sleek black smartphone. Gone was the quiet, submissive dishwasher. His posture was tall, commanding, and radiated immense, untouchable power. Secretary Kong. Ji-sung spoke into the receiver, his voice cold as ice. I need you to halt the acquisition of the 5th Street commercial block immediately. Sir, the secretary gasped on the other end. But that development deal is almost finalized with Vance Development. Your father's board of directors already approved the funding. I don't care about the board right now, Ji-sung commanded, his eyes narrowing with dangerous intensity. Buy the entire block under the Marini Hospitality subsidiary. Do not let Damien Vance sign those papers tomorrow. Buy the deed and transfer the exclusive, lifetime lease of the Brick Bakery building to a private entity. Of course, Mr. Min, Secretary Kong replied instantly, sensing the absolute gravity in his boss's voice. To whom should the lease be registered? Ji-sung looked out the towering glass window, staring at the sprawling Chicago skyline. A warm, determined smile broke through his cold expression. Register it under the name of Lisa Browns. And keep my name completely off the public record. She must not know it was me. Understood, sir. It will be done by morning. What do you mean the deal is gone? Damien Vance screamed, slamming his fists onto his massive mahogany desk with a force that sent his gold pen rolling onto the floor. His lead real estate broker trembled, gripping his tablet like a shield. I'm sorry, Mr. Vance. We went to sign the final papers this morning, but the city registry informed us that the entire 5th Street block was purchased late last night. Outbid by double our highest offer. Boo! Damien roared, his face contorting into an ugly mask of pure rage. Who has that kind of liquid cash to throw around on a historic block? Marini Holdings, sir, the broker squeaked. And that's not all. The registry shows they immediately carved out the old Brick Bakery and transferred a lifetime, fully paid lease to a private entity. The tenant on the deed is Lisa Browns. Damien froze, his breath hitching in his throat. Lisa, that is impossible. She doesn't have a dime to her name. She's a freelance kitchen worker. How could she possibly get the attention of a global empire like Marini? He snatched his phone, his fingers flying across the screen as he dialed Aunt Beatrice. Beatrice, your niece is playing dirty. Find out who she is sleeping with to get this kind of backing, or I swear I will ruin your family's name in this city. Meanwhile, in her tiny apartment, Lisa was staring at the gold-embossed envelope in her hands, her heart hammering so hard she could hear it in her ears. Her hands shook violently as she unfolded the heavy parchment paper inside. This cannot be real, she gasped out loud, tears instantly welling in her eyes. It was a legally binding, fully executed lifetime lease for the 5th Street Bakery. No monthly rent, no hidden fees. The landlord was listed as Marini Holdings, but a handwritten note at the bottom simply read, for a talent that deserves to be seen and a heart that deserves to be protected. Build your dream, Chef Lisa. Who did this? Lisa wept, clutching the papers to her chest. She laughed through her tears, overwhelmed by a wave of pure, unfiltered joy. Oh my God, I have my bistro. I actually have my bistro. She didn't care about the chaos of the upcoming gala. She didn't care about Chef Sterling. She needed to share this incredible, miraculous news with the only person who had truly believed in her. She grabbed her coat and ran out the door, heading straight to the Ether Club's back alley. Ji-sung, where are you? Lisa cried out, bursting through the alleyway gate, her face flushed and her eyes sparkling with tears. Ji-sung was carrying a heavy crate of empty glass bottles to the recycling bin. He stopped, setting the crate down as a massive, genuine smile broke across his face. Lisa, what is it? What happened? Look at this. Just look at this. Lisa screamed, waving the gold-embossed papers in front of him. She grabbed his bandaged hand, jumping up and down like a little girl. Someone bought the building. Someone bought the bakery and gave me a lifetime lease. I don't have to worry about just tearing it down. I don't have to marry him. I can build my restaurant, Ji-sung. It's really happening. Ji-sung let out a soft laugh, his eyes warming as he looked at her radiant face. He felt a profound sense of peace. Seeing her this happy was worth every single insult he had endured in Sterling's kitchen. I told you, didn't I? I told you your talent was too big for this place. I am so incredibly happy for you, Lisa. Unable to contain her emotion, Lisa threw her arms around his neck, hugging him tightly. Thank you for believing in me when no one else would. You were the only one who didn't look at me like I was crazy. Ji-sung slowly wrapped his arms around her waist, holding her close, wishing he could stay in this moment forever. You're not crazy, Lisa. You are extraordinary. Well, look at this pathetic, disgusting display. The harsh, mocking voice shattered the beautiful moment. Lisa and Ji-sung pulled apart to see Aunt Beatrice and Damien Vance marching into the alleyway, flanked by two burly security guards. Beatrice's face was twisted in absolute disgust, while Damien looked like he wanted to murder someone with his bare hands. Aunt Beatrice. Damien, Lisa gasped, stepping in front of Ji-sung defensively. What are you doing here? I came to see what kind of trash my niece is throwing her life away for. Beatrice shrieked, pointing a manicured finger at Lisa's chest. You think you're clever, Lisa? You think you can fool us? Damien told me about the lease. Who did you sell your dignity to in Marini Holdings to get that building? Tell me. I didn't sell anything to anyone. Lisa yelled back, her voice shaking with raw indignation. I don't even know who my benefactor is. It was a gift. Because unlike you, someone actually believes in my dream. A gift. Damien sneered, stepping closer, his eyes bloodshot with rage. Don't play innocent with me, Lisa. Marini Holdings doesn't give gifts to cheap kitchen girls. You stole that block from me. That was my development deal. My millions of dollars. He turned his furious gaze to Ji-sung, who stood perfectly still, his face completely expressionless. And you quiet, pathetic little immigrant. You think you can use her to climb your way out of the gutter? Damien, do not speak to him. Lisa screamed, her eyes blazing. Leave him out of this. He has nothing to do with this. He has everything to do with this, because he's a distraction. Damien snarled. He stepped right up to Ji-sung, poking a finger hard into his chest. Listen to me, you worthless piece of garbage. Tomorrow night is the Grand Marini Gala. I have VIP tickets. I'm going to find the executive board, and I'm going to expose whatever fraudulent scheme you and Lisa are running. I will make sure they cancel that lease and throw her in the street where she belongs. Ji-sung didn't flinch. He didn't step back. Instead, he slowly looked down at Damien's finger on his chest, then looked up. The warmth in his eyes was entirely gone, replaced by an icy, terrifying authority that made Damien's breath hitch. I suggest you take your hand off me, Ji-sung said, his voice dropping to a dangerous, quiet register that vibrated with immense power. And I strongly advise you to think twice before you show your face at the gala tomorrow. Damien laughed nervously, stepping back, trying to shake off the sudden chill that ran down his spine. Are you threatening me? A dishwasher is threatening me? You won't even get past the front gate tomorrow, boy. If I see you anywhere near the ether gallery, my security will beat you into the pavement. We are leaving, Damien. Beatrice spat, glare icy. Let them have their little moment in the dirt. Tomorrow night, we will watch her lose everything. The grand ballroom of the ether gallery was a sea of shimmering gold, crystal chandeliers, and the soft, elegant hum of a live string quartet. Chicago's wealthiest elites glided across the polished marble floor, sipping champagne and discussing million-dollar mergers. Among them, Damien Vance stood tall in a custom-tailored tuxedo, a smug, triumphant grin plastered on his face. Beside him, Aunt Beatrice looked around the room in absolute awe, her chest puffed out with unearned pride. Oh, Damien, this is absolutely breathtaking. Beatrice cooed, clutching her designer clutch tighter. Only the cream of society is here tonight. And to think, my foolish niece is stuck back in the prep kitchen, sweating over appetizer plates while we are here enjoying the luxury we deserve. She made her bed, Beatrice, Damien sneered, taking a sip of his vintage champagne. She wanted to play hero for a pathetic, penniless dishwasher. Tonight, I'm going to make sure she pays for it. Once I find the Marini executives and expose her little fraudulent connection, that lease on the 5th Street bakery will be torn to shreds. She'll have no choice but to come crawling back to me. Meanwhile, in the sweltering, high-pressure prep kitchen just down the hall, Lisa Browns was working at a frantic pace. Her hands flew across the plates, artfully arranging her signature soul fusion dishes. Her heart was heavy, but her jaw was set with absolute determination. She had spent the last 2 hours ignoring Chef Sterling's nasty remarks, keeping her head down and focusing entirely on her craft. She didn't care about the elites in the ballroom. She only cared about delivering the best culinary presentation of her life. She looked around the chaotic kitchen, her eyes searching the dishwashing station. It was empty. Ji-sung hadn't shown up for his shift tonight. A wave of intense worry washed over her. Did Damien's thugs do something to him? She panicked, her breath hitching. Oh God, please let it be okay. Browns, stop daydreaming and get those final platters out to the main floor. Chef Sterling barked, pointing an angry, greasy finger at the doors. And don't you dare embarrass me tonight. This is the Marini Gala. One mistake, and we are all finished. I'm on it, Lisa called back, swallowing her anxiety. She lifted a heavy, beautifully styled tray of her glazed short ribs and pushed through the double doors into the grand ballroom. The moment she stepped into the glittering light, she felt a dozen judgmental eyes lock onto her. She kept her chin up, walking gracefully through the crowd to set the platters on the main display table. Well, look what the cat dragged in. Lisa closed her eyes for a brief second, bracing herself before turning around. Damien and Aunt Beatrice were standing right in front of her, their faces twisted in mocking amusement. What are you doing out here, Lisa? Beatrice hissed in a harsh whisper. You're a staff. You belong in the back. You are embarrassing me in front of these people. I'm doing my job, Aunt Beatrice, Lisa said, her voice quiet but incredibly firm. And my food is the reason this gala has any flavor tonight. Now, if you'll excuse me. Not so fast, sweetheart. Damien stepped forward, blocking her path, his eyes gleaming with malicious satisfaction. You think you're so smart with that little lease of yours, don't you? Well, I've got news for you. I've already requested a private meeting with the vice president of Marini. He is arriving any minute now. By the end of this night, your precious little dream bistro is going to be demolished, and your little immigrant boyfriend is going to be deported. You're a monster, Damien. Lisa gasped, her eyes filling with hot, angry tears. He has done nothing to you. Why can't you just leave us alone? Because nobody crosses Damien Vance and gets away with it, he hissed, leaning in close. You chose a loser over a king, Lisa. Now you get to watch him burn. Suddenly, the grand double doors at the front of the ballroom swung wide open. The chatter in the room instantly died down to a breathless, respectful silence. The string quartet stopped playing. Ladies and gentlemen, the master of ceremonies announced, his voice booming through the microphone. Please welcome the chairman and chief executive officer of Marini Holdings, Mr. Ji-sung Min. A collective gasp echoed through the room. Damien immediately straightened his tie, his chest swelling. This is it, Beatrice. Watch how a real man of power enters a room. Let's go make our move. A sleek line of high-level executives in matching charcoal suits entered first, forming a strict, protective boundary. And then, walking right through the center of the security detail, came the chairman. Lisa's jaw dropped. Her heart stopped beating entirely. She couldn't breathe. Walking into the room with absolute, effortless grace and an air of immense, untouchable authority was Ji-sung. He wasn't wearing his faded t-shirt or his stained apron. He was dressed in a flawless, bespoke three-piece charcoal tuxedo that fit his broad shoulders perfectly. His hair was styled back, revealing his sharp, aristocratic jawline. His eyes, usually soft and gentle when looking at her, were now cold, piercing, and radiated a power that demanded absolute submission from everyone in the room. No, Aunt Beatrice whispered, her eyes bulging out of her head as she gripped Damien's arm, so hard her nails tore through his sleeve. No, that's impossible. That's the dishwasher. Damien looked like he had just been struck by lightning. His face turned a ghostly, horrific shade of white. His mouth hung open, but no sound came out. His knees literally began to tremble under his tailored trousers. It can't be. He was cleaning the alley. Ji-sung walked slowly down the center of the ballroom, his gaze sweeping over the frozen crowd. He didn't look at the billionaires bowing to him. He didn't look at the flashing cameras. His eyes locked onto Lisa, who was standing frozen by the food station, tears of sheer shock streaming down her face. The coldness in Ji-sung's expression instantly melted into a soft, intensely tender warmth. He walked directly toward her, ignoring the entire high society crowd, and stopped right in front of her. "Hi, Lisa," he said softly, his voice rich and smooth, carrying the exact same kind tone he had used in the dirty alleyway. He gently reached out and wiped a tear from her cheek with his thumb. "I told you your dream was safe. Did you think I would let anyone take it away from you? You are the chairman," Lisa whispered, her voice cracking as she stared at him, her chest heaving with a mixture of shock, confusion, and overwhelming emotion. "Ji-sung, I don't understand." Ji-sung offered her a gentle, reassuring smile, his eyes shining with absolute warmth. "I will explain everything, Lisa. I promise. But first, I have a few outstanding matters to settle." He slowly turned his head, his warm expression instantly hardening into a mask of terrifying, icy authority as his eyes locked onto Damien Vance and Aunt Beatrice. The two of them stood frozen, looking as if they wanted the marble floor to swallow them whole. Damien was sweating profusely, his hands shaking so violently that a champagne glass slipped from his fingers and shattered loudly on the polished floor. Nobody moved to clean it. Mr. Min, Damien stammered, his voice climbing an octave as he took a trembling step forward, trying desperately to salvage his dignity. There's been a massive misunderstanding. I had no idea that you were. You had no idea that the man you kicked, insulted, and threatened in the alleyway was the man who holds your entire company's future in his hands. Ji-sung interrupted, his voice calm, quiet, and deadlier than a loaded gun. The entire ballroom was dead silent. Every billionaire, investor, and socialite in Chicago was staring at Damien with eyes wide in shock. "Secretary Kong," Ji-sung called out, not once breaking eye contact with Damien. "Yes, Mr. Min," Secretary Kong stepped forward, bowing deeply. "Please inform Mr. Vance of the status of his outstanding development loans with our subsidiary bank," Ji-sung commanded. Secretary Kong pulled up a digital document on his tablet, his voice ringing clearly through the silent room. "As of 5 minutes ago, Marini Global Bank has officially recalled all active credit lines and construction loans extended to Vance Development. Furthermore, due to multiple filed reports of unethical business practices and extortion, Marini Holdings has blacklisted Vance Development from all future municipal bids." No, you can't do this," Damien shrieked, his face turning an ugly, desperate shade of red. "That will ruin me. I'll go bankrupt." "In this city, money talks, Mr. Vance," Ji-sung replied, throwing Damien's own cruel words back at him with a chilling, effortless smile. "And right now your money is gone. Security, escort this man out of my gala. He is no longer welcome in any establishment associated with Marini Holdings." Two massive, stone-faced security guards immediately grabbed Damien by his arms. Damien thrashed and screamed, his expensive tuxedo rumpling as he was dragged kicking and screaming out of the grand ballroom, his reputation and career completely shattered in front of the city's entire elite. Aunt Beatrice stood shaking in her designer heels, her face completely pale as Ji-sung's piercing gaze finally landed on her. She looked at Lisa, her eyes pleading for help. "Lisa, sweetie, please tell him, I'm your family. I only wanted what was best for you." Lisa looked at her aunt, her eyes filled with a deep, quiet sadness. "No, Aunt Beatrice, you only wanted what was best for your social standing. You mocked Ji-sung when you thought he was a nobody. You try to force me to marry a bully just for his bank account. True wealth isn't about the designer coats or the VIP tickets. It's about how we treat people when we think they have nothing to offer us. Yiseok nodded slowly. Your niece is far too kind to you, Beatrice. But I am not. You will leave this venue immediately, and you will never attempt to control or manipulate Lisa's life again. If you do, I will personally ensure your name is erased from every social circle in this city. Beatrice choked back a sob, turning around and rushing out of the ballroom in utter humiliation, her heels clicking frantically against the marble. The crowd of elites watched in absolute awe. Suddenly, Ji-sung stepped up to the main microphone at the front of the stage. He looked out at the sea of wealthy guests, his hand reaching out to find Lisa's. He gently pulled her up onto the stage beside him, holding her hand tightly. Ladies and gentlemen, Ji-sung's voice boomed through the speakers, rich, commanding, and proud. Tonight, you were invited here to celebrate the global expansion of Marini Holdings. But the true guest of honor tonight is standing right beside me. This is Chef Lisa Brown's. A collective murmur of curiosity swept through the crowd. For the past month, I have lived under an assumed identity to understand the true heart of our hospitality business. In that time, I was ignored, abused, and treated like trash by almost everyone. Except for this woman, Ji-sung said, his eyes filled with immense pride. Lisa did not know who I was. She thought I was a struggling dishwasher with nothing to my name. Yet, she defended me. She fed me. She shared her dreams with me and treated me with a dignity that money can never buy. Tears of pure, overwhelming happiness spilled over Lisa's eyelashes, shining like diamonds under the crystal chandeliers. Her culinary genius is what you are tasting tonight, Ji-sung continued, gesturing to the beautiful soul fusion platters on the display tables. And tonight, I am incredibly proud to announce that Marini Holdings is officially launching a new global culinary division. Our flagship restaurant will be Brown's Fusion Bistro, located at the historic 5th Street Bakery, fully owned and operated by executive chef Lisa Brown's. The ballroom erupted into thunderous, deafening applause. Billionaires and critics alike cheered, completely captivated by the beautiful, triumphant story of love and justice unfolding before their eyes. In the midst of the roaring applause, Ji-sung turned Lisa to face him, his hands gently framing her face. I promised you that you would get your bistro, Lisa, and I always keep my promises. You are unbelievable, Ji-sung Min. Lisa laughed through her tears, wrapping her arms around his neck, holding him closer than ever before. A dishwasher and a chairman? You really kept me guessing. I would wash 1,000,000 dishes just to hear you say you believe in me again. Ji-sung whispered against her hair, his arms locking around her waist as he pulled her into a warm, passionate embrace right under the glittering lights. In a world obsessed with superficial wealth, they had found the truest riches of all. A love built on genuine kindness, unbreakable trust, and a shared dream that was now entirely theirs to live. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your favorite part.